Good morning, everyone. This is Holly Bailey from Work Truck Solutions. I just wanted to say good morning and welcome to the Women in Commercial webinar. We're going to give it just a few minutes here for a few more folks to join in, and we'll get started shortly. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Catherine Calls, president of Work Truck Solutions. Great lady. She's awesome. Holly's kind of their marketing person.
Can y'all hear it okay?
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
We're off to a good start. The panelists can all hear each other. That's good news.
That's kind of important.
You know, it is. It really helps when you're doing these webinars. Right. Well, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Other folks will be joining, I'm sure, as we get things going today. Welcome, everyone to the line. Again, my name is Holly Bailey. I am the Customer Success Manager here at Work Truck Solutions. And in the room with me today, I have Catherine Schifferle, our CEO. I also have Rose Lynch, who is one of our DSCs. And I also have Juliet Ruth-Chai, who is our marketing coordinator. She's going to be helping with the presentation today as well. Just a few housekeeping notes. The audience members are muted for the presentation portion, but there will be a question and answer session at the end of the presentation for you to ask any questions you may have of our panelists. You can also post a question right in the meeting during the webinar, and Juliet will keep an eye out for those. We're also recording this webinar so that it will be available to you following today's presentation. So what I'd like to do is get started by introducing all of our wonderful panelists. There they are. We have an amazing group of experts in commercial today, and so I'm going to start it off by introducing Catherine Schifferle. She has served as CEO of Work Truck Solutions since its founding in 2011. Her deep understanding of the commercial truck industry came from her time as Executive Director of the National Ford Truck Club. She has continued to build trusted relationships with dealers and stakeholders in the industry. She has previously held executive roles at Balestra Automotive Marketing and Multi-Image Network, where she was founder and CEO from 1987 to 2006. She's also my boss, and one of her favorite quotes that she says to me quite often is, if you want to be terrific, you've got to be specific. So good morning, Catherine.
Good morning, everyone.
Next, I'd like to introduce Ken Taylor. He is president of Ken Taylor and Associates Incorporated in commercial truck training, the #1 training organization in the U.S. for commercial and fleet vehicle sales and marketing. Ken has appeared nationally on Fox Business News and has been quoted in the Wall Street Journal. He's an accomplished author and hosts a podcast, The Extra Mile, that can be found on Apple iTunes and Google Play. His Ultimate Boot Camp consistently rates a perfect 10 from participants, and he is known nationally as America's corporate and personal coach. His motto is, the road to the extra mile is never crowded. Ken, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Holly.
You bet. And sitting with Ken today is Cheryl Fulgham of the Thompson Group Classic Fleet of Texas. Cheryl actually went to school to become an accountant, CPA, and she worked for Texas Instruments as an executive secretary for Defensive Electronics Information Systems for 14 years. With changes that she saw in the technology space, she found that she really needed to diversify, and it was her daughter who suggested that she head into the Ford store and apply for a job, which she got. With 21 years in automotive, she started in retail, which she did for 3 years before moving to California, where she landed the commercial fleet manager position at a very large Chevrolet dealership, where she quickly became the #1 salesperson. Cheryl ultimately made her way back to Texas in 2008. She is a Texas native. And one day she received a call from the largest commercial fleet department in the country to come work for them. She's been at Classic Chevrolet, the Thompson Group, for 9 years and loves it. She was the inaugural winner of Salesperson of the Month and subsequently has added 14 more of those honors since the program started. And she's also received Salesperson of the Year for the past 2 years. Her positivity, which you will all see, is evident in her motto, do what you enjoy and you will never work a day in your life. Cheryl, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. How are you? Thank you.
I'm good. I'm good. I've been looking forward to this. And I've had several cups of coffee in case you couldn't tell. So we're off to a good start. The next panelist that I'd like to introduce is Alexandria Riley of Midway Chevrolet of Arizona. Alexandria was born and raised in Spokane, Washington, and she started in the car business 12 years ago in Oklahoma. She grew up around cars and going to watch her uncle drag race his '63 Plymouth. She's been in commercial fleet in Arizona for almost 3 years now. She actually wanted to be a stunt car driver, and if she could, and money were no object, she would have a 7-car garage, complete with a red Ferrari 458 parked inside. She'd also have a classic 1970 Dodge Challenger or Plymouth Cuda, and a big lifted off-roading Jeep Wrangler. And Alexandria, I shared this with my 17-year-old last night because he is begging for a Dodge Challenger. So he's very excited to hear that I was going to be talking with you. So he may call you up to try to have you convince me to get him a Dodge Challenger. So be ready. Alex, all right. I know. I know you love the auto industry, Alex, and it shows with your exuberant approach to life, as well as your motto, how you do anything is how you do everything. So good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me on.
You bet. We're happy to have you. The next panelist that I'd like to introduce is Maria Reyes of Sunrise Ford in California. Maria is sales and has found that it is definitely a natural fit for her. In August of 2018, Maria became part of the commercial sales family at Sunrise Ford. She has a background actually in property management and the construction industry. And from that background, she's been able to develop her knowledge and skills in marketing, relationship building, people management, problem resolution assessments, and team building that has really helped her prepare for her role in the commercial industry. She is a constant optimist and lives by the motto, the best is yet to come. Good morning, Maria. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. And yourself? Thank you for having me here.
You bet. I'm doing great. Good morning.
Good morning.
And to round out, good morning. To round out our panel, we have Paul Pineda of Tacoma Dodge of Washington, and he comes to us with over 15 years of experience in commercial vehicle industry. He is a true expert, although you'll never hear him say that because he loathes the term expert. He considers himself a lifelong learner. For the past 5 years, he has focused strictly on growing his commercial department at Tacoma Dodge, and with help from his select team of truck pros. He is someone who is truly dedicated to the work. Paul knows that the commercial industry is really relationship-based, and he always focuses on the person he is dealing with before the product. His motto is reflect on yesterday, plan for tomorrow, and focus on today. Good morning, Paul. How are you today?
Doing very well, thank you.
Good. Well, welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to serve as your moderator. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into our questions portion. Cheryl, I'd love to just go ahead and start with you on our first question. I'm very intrigued that it was actually your daughter who got you into commercial sales, and you mentioned that you started in retail and then moved into commercial. can you just chat a bit about that, and what advice would you offer to others who might want to get started in commercial and fleet? So if I can just turn it over to you, Cheryl, to give us your insights on those topics, that'd be great.
Well, I was in retail for about 2.5 years, and I hated every minute of it. Just no relationship building in retail at all, where I was anyway. There may be in other dealerships, but I got the opportunity to work at a Chevy dealership in Roseville, California, and got to know an FAE really well. And he called me up one day and told me that he had a guy that he had gone to lunch with that needed somebody to start a fleet department. And I'd only been in fleet for about 1.5 years. And I told him, I said, no, it's, I don't have the experience. And he said, yes, you do. And so I went down and talked to the guy, and he hired me, and I was there for 11 years. And there in commercial, you could build the relationships, you know, and continue helping the people that it's interesting how different retail and commercial is. You just become kind of a family. So I would encourage more women to get into the commercial end of it. There's just not enough.
Wonderful. I'm right there with you, and I think the gentleman sitting next to you, Ken, you've been in this business for some time, and we know that your training programs are really renowned specifically for helping commercial dealerships grow their business. And I'd really pose the same question to you. What advice would you give to someone wanting to enter the commercial space? Cheryl, you know, spoke very eloquently about the relationship building and that being something that she really likes, and for more women to get into the industry. And what would you say to somebody saying, you know, I want to get started in commercial and fleet? What advice would you give to them?
Number one, choose the right dealership. You know, fortunately, at a place like Classic and Ken Thompson Group, they understand the business forward and backward, and they give their people time to develop, and they've got a lot of support. So the dealership you go into is critical. A lot of dealerships want to get started in fleet commercial, and they want to play at it, so they hire someone, and they don't get the support. So your choice of dealership is really the start. Number two, learn as much as you can, but don't wait to get out the door. Joining associations, joining different groups like Business Network International will give you a jump start. You start meeting people, networking, growing relationships, and then the rest starts falling in place. As Paul said, you never stop learning, and continue that learning, become an expert. And that's what's so great about someone like Cheryl. I've known Cheryl forever, and you know, she's a consummate professional. She knows the business forward and backward. Yet she's a person that you cannot help but like. So,
agreed.
Just grow those relationships. You know, go the extra mile. That's why that's our motto. The road to the extra mile is never crowded. It's really true. And you know, I'll be out today on sales calls with some of the guys here, and my first advice will be to have fun. You know, enjoy the business, and always put the customer first.
Wonderful. Thank you. And have fun. I like that. I live by that too. Have fun in everything you do. And you'll never work a day, right, Cheryl?
That's right.
Exactly. Catherine, I'd like to kind of turn things over to you. I know we talk a lot about the fact that the commercial space is really in a time of innovation right now, and I know you're actually holding a panel discussion on that very topic at the Work Truck Show coming up early next month. Can you just share with us, you know, how you've seen the commercial space evolve over the past decade?
Well, not to be flippant, but kicking and screaming all the way. No, it's been a really interesting situation. So I should probably start with, in 2007, I entered the industry, and honestly, I fell in love with it. I fell in love with it because the people in this industry are so genuine. And so, you know, just willing to have those kinds of conversations.
Right.
But of course, we all know the demographics of the industry, which even today tend to be over 50, over 60, right? And so in 2009, I started seeing the challenges there were in adopting to technology. It seemed an appropriate thing to try and jump in and help with. So for me, I kind of tag that as the starting place.
Okay.
And I've been proactively talking to people about how they need to evolve to survive and excel.
Right.
And so, you know, just it's great to step back and say, what's changed? And for me, it's exciting because there are a lot of things that have been changing. And, you know, my kind of conversations at the time were around, yes, email is important.
Right.
To now, you know, people have tools and they use them and they understand that they are to help them have a better life. So I think that to me has been the most exciting thing so far. What's exciting now and why we're doing the panel in Indianapolis is what the future holds.
Right.
And so the future to me is that commercial, which has been this stable, dependable revenue stream that dealers really didn't pay a lot of it. Dealers, OEMs, everybody didn't really have to pay a lot of attention to because they could just count on it happening,
Sure.
right? That now that their world is changing and evolving, I think what's going to happen and what we're professing should happen is that the commercial department becomes more important overall because it is a B2B environment. Like Cheryl said, it's about relationships and it's about understanding, building them and having ongoing deep relationships and roots with the community. And so, you know, I'm excited about that next phase.
Me too. Good. Thank you.
Yes.
To completely shift gears, one of my favorite questions is, what are funny stories that people have from out in the field? And we had lots of great responses to this. But Paul, I'd like to have you chat here for a minute. Many of us have heard about states that are legalizing marijuana in recent years. And as a resident of Washington, you have a rather interesting story related to this lucrative industry. Can you tell us a bit about that? Are you there, Paul? Well,
I'm happy to tell his story. He told me the other day. I absolutely think I know it.
All right.
I'll tell you, if it's not the one he was going to tell, it's equally fun.
Okay, tell his story.
Okay, so you know, as a quote and unquote industry forms itself, which is cannabis delivery, right? I mean, that is really a big industry in a lot of states now. And it's a great opportunity for a custom upfit. And some dealers are doing a great job with it, and that's really where this story comes from.
Right.
And I don't know if it's the exact one, but he was telling us at the conference last week that he had a customer come into the store with $78,000 in cash.
Yes, that's the story.
That's the story. And that they ordered this wonderful customized vehicle. And of course, there's things around it. You know, you'd want to have it be more extra secure. You'd want to have the temperature controlled. You'd want to have the humidity controlled, blah, blah, blah. It took a while to build it. So they had it built, it got delivered, and they kind of waited for Mr. Customer to check in with them, and that didn't happen. And so Paul made the call, and the call was, "We have your van, it's ready for you." And the customer said, "I don't remember ordering it."
I know, and then business is good. That was the response. So that's a great story. So I'm sorry that we don't have Paul. I don't. Rose is gonna try to find him. He was on, but
at least we had his pretty face.
We had his face. We feel him here in spirit. Thank you for sharing that. I'd like to pose this next question to several of our panelists. And, you know, this is, I think, something that we're all very interested in. The panel, everyone on the panel has been so successful in the commercial space. And so one of the questions is, you know, what is the one thing or things that have helped you be the most successful in this space? And Alexandria, I'd love to start with you. You talk about just having grit. And I'm hoping you can elaborate a bit more on that and how just having grit has helped you be successful. Alexandria, are you there? Alexandria, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Am I there?
Yes.
Okay.
You're right here.
Okay. Yay! Yeah, so to elaborate on that, I will definitely say, especially if you're just starting out and you don't have, you know, a book of business in commercial fleet, getting started, it does. It takes a lot of grit and a lot of kind of how I answered that question. You just don't give up. There's a lot of tough days, you know, where you have to go through a lot, many no's, you know, or people that are not in the market now, they will be eventually, but just getting out there, making the phone calls, following up relentlessly, even when they say, yeah, you know, I'm not in the market now, you know, in 6 months or in a year, you schedule that and you do the follow-up in 6 months or a year, because it will come back around eventually. You just have to keep going through all those no's to get the one yes. And then eventually it all starts coming back around, and it I will tell you, it is incredibly rewarding once it does. There was a customer that I met when I first started at Midway, and I was doing all of our social media and marketing, and I met him, and he's a very large masonry company, and I said, I want to sell that guy trucks. It took 2 years, but guess what? I finally sold him trucks, and I was so happy about it. 2 years of building that relationship with him and seeing him at all the events and really getting to know him. And then I finally got the opportunity and sold him a couple of Zuzus. So
wonderful. And I think along with grit, you touched on this, is, you know, having a thick skin, being able to hear no again and again and just persevering. And I love that about your attitude. And I think that's just a great message for life in general, including entering commercial sales. So thank you. That's good stuff.
Absolutely.
And wonderful. And Maria, if I could kind of turn it over to you. You have, being newer, you really have this great unique perspective on the importance of branding. And can you speak to that a little bit more? You know, how you use branding and how that has helped you be successful.
Of course. So pretty much, I mean, I'm 26, so I'm very young, and I've taken advantage of social media. So that's how I've been branding myself. And it's funny because, you know, I have my own site for commercial sales on Instagram and Facebook. And there's been a couple people that have recognized me just by the videos that I post, and they'll be like, oh, you're that truck girl from Ford, and you know, so I've been able to brand myself, and people actually know me because I'm the only female in our dealership that's a woman, right. And so, you know, they just say, if they forget my name, they're just like, well, it's that lady you know, on the ad, or the girl on Facebook that sells trucks. So just by that alone, it's just helped me develop my I guess my portfolio and my customers, just to get a wider range of people. And you know, it just helps me, even branding myself helps me connect with them even before I get to shake their hand. And so it gives me a huge advantage, which that's what's been helping me be successful.
And Maria, just to give the audience an idea, how often are you using social media? Is that something you do once a week? Is it something you do every day?
You know what? I will tell you that I mean, I don't think anybody does it enough because it's so underpriced right now that we just take it for granted. And I post about twice a week, which
Okay.
I'm not to, and this is on every platform, but I'm not very happy about it because I've had such great results that I beat myself up for not doing it every hour, honestly. Only because there's phone calls to return and, you know, you have to go out and do certain things. But honestly, if just building a team that focuses on social media, that's huge for your brand.
Perfect. Thank you. That's good advice for us, and I agree. I always am wanting to use social media more, you know, again, just to kind of get the word out, and it allows people an avenue to get to know you. And I think that, you know, with everyone really emphasizing the importance of relationships, it is a way to reach a lot of people and let them know who you are. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Cheryl, you know, Ken mentioned this earlier, and I know that you've mentioned the importance of being part of associations as being key to your success. Can you talk a bit more about that and what associations you would recommend people becoming part of? Cheryl, are you there? Cheryl and Ken? All right. Well, Cheryl had identified that one of the most successful things for her was really joining those associations and attending meetings. And Paul, I know Paul was going to be on the call, but I'm not exactly sure. Julia is looking into some of the audio issues that are going on. But Paul had a great response to this when we asked, you know, what has been the most successful thing you've done to grow your business? And the first thing he said was, I hired a woman, which I was tickled by that response. Let's go ahead and we'll move on to some things that you do to nurture your relationship with your customers and make them feel special. So Alexandria, I'd just like to go to you. You emphasized how important it is to take time and build those relationships. So can you just speak to that a bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yep.
You know, with I know, right? Anytime I'm, especially with new customers, I take the time, I ask them a lot of questions because I want to get to know them personally. I love hearing stories about how people started their businesses. And they love talking about it, and it's really cool. I've just met some amazing people and heard some really cool stories on how they got their business started and how it's grown so much. So you really get to know them. And I also ask, you know, what their hobbies are, what they like to do for fun. And I make notes of that in my CRM, and I keep that. So the next time I have one customer, he does professional boat racing. And I mean, that's his passion. So, you know, when I call him every couple months to touch base with him, I say, hey, when's your next, you know, boat race coming up? Or how'd you do in the last one? And, you know, you can tell he just lights up when he starts talking about it. And another thing too that I do is, you know, send out a thank you, a handwritten thank you after they buy a vehicle. I think that's kind of gotten lost. And unfortunately, you know, with email and sure it's quicker to send out an email thank you, but I like to do a personal touch and take the time to actually write a card. So little things like that I think people still appreciate.
I agree, and I think it's a lost art to write those thank you notes as well. And I know that whenever I get an actual card in the mail, it's just really a lovely gesture, and it has great meaning. And I actually save a lot of the cards that I get, so I think that's really important. And I know, Maria, you have mentioned that you actually send cards for holidays and birthdays.
That's right. I mean, it's just, you have to do it religiously because that does continue to keep your name in front of them. And I have customers that will take pictures of the cards I sent them and for Christmas, and they'll put it on their Christmas tree or on their chimney, and they're just like very, very, very thankful just for the small gesture.
Exactly. we actually have, I actually am on a first name basis. We have a little card store around the corner from our business here in Chico on Broadway called Magna Carta, and it's just purely cards. And I spend way too much money in there because I love sending cards and getting cards. So I have to have a special line item budget for my card habit.
That's always a good one.
We'll go ahead, just to talk about what is the best thing about being a commercial salesperson. And so, Maria, can you chat about that? I know you talk about the opportunity to connect with so many different types of people, but just to expand on that a bit, what do you love most about being a commercial salesperson?
Well, I think I didn't mention this when I reviewed it, but thinking about it really now, I think that the challenge is probably one of my favorites, just because it's not always easy for somebody to believe you and to be able to bond and just believe everything you're saying, especially when it comes to these kind of sales. They think that you're probably looking for your best interest. So just the challenge itself of being able to convince somebody that you are being genuine, that you are there for them and for their best interest and their company, that is probably one of my favorites, besides just building that relationship and always remembering who they are, what they're about. And, that's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I'm going to try to, I think Cheryl and Ken might be on the audio. Are you guys on? Cheryl, can you hear us? We're frantically texting with each other as well while all of this is going on, so I'm really using my multitasking chops this morning. We'll give them just a minute. Alex, you talk about, to echo what Maria said, the people and meeting those people as being one of your favorite things about being in commercial sales. Can you speak to that further as well?
Yeah, and really it is just that, the people that you meet and those relationships that you build, and I've met people that I'll be friends with them for life. Not only
right.
selling them trucks and watching and also kind of growing with them as their business grows and they need more trucks. And on the other side of that too, that's one of the best things is, again, how rewarding it is. It's just a good feeling to know that I'm actually helping somebody with their business, and again, seeing it grow and being a part of that is really awesome.
Absolutely, and that's been one of my favorite parts, just being not directly in commercial sales, but just getting to know so many different people at the dealerships and the events. I agree, that is one of the best parts. Going on to just kind of further elaborate here, can you kind of talk to us? We're going to talk a bit about some of the challenges that you see facing the commercial industry again. Catherine, can I call on you at this point? Just, in the years that you've been part of the space, what challenges have you seen and do you see today that need to be addressed?
Well, there's obviously different kinds of challenges. And there's challenges, one challenge that is a big deal right now is the flow of inventory. And it's been interesting to watch how that affects people's ability to be successful. And I know that a lot of people that are at particular dealerships have had to go through challenges of being able to get things that they have ordered on time, to get things for their customers and to meet their needs. So that's a tough one.
Yeah.
And unfortunately not one that I've been able to see a whole lot of opportunity to help. I think that one of the challenges is that there is that a lot of times the commercial part of the OEM's business has been hidden were not as important. So the good news about what we observe happening, which is OEMs stating publicly that they're moving more and more into commercial vehicles, into trucks and vans, et cetera, that's hyper-focusing, hyper-shining a light on the need for that inventory to flow correctly. So I've got my fingers crossed on that.
Yeah.
Other challenges are, just the wild ride of technology. Put your seatbelt on and things are changing and happening, and how do you balance that between being a caring, personal, I mean, you guys are talking about that. How do you still touch people? How do you make sure that you have a personal relationship? And how do you balance that with using technology to make everybody's lives more efficient?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that the inventory issue was something that Alexandria brought up, and there's some things that are in control and out of control, and I think that's what makes it kind of tricky.
But I think overall what I'm hearing is focus on the customer.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Yep.
So as long as you're doing that, you're going to overcome to the best of anybody's ability what the challenges
Any of those challenges, absolutely. And I know I just got a text from Ken. Ken, are you guys on? Can you hear me? No, I know you can hear me, but we're not hearing you. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to move on to our next question. Can you go ahead and we're just going to talk about, what makes a great salesperson? What makes a great sales team? And, Maria, you talked about a bit, managing your customers' information and being respectful. And I just love that and was hoping you could share that with our audience.
Of course. So obviously, I think we all have the tools, like somebody else mentioned earlier, to be able to use them to our advantage. And with CRM and other, just like Work Truck Solutions, the website, I've been able to sort out all of my customers' information and just updating, everything for me to get a hold of them. Information such as like key points with, what they like, when they started, their business anniversary, which allows me to send them an email or a letter or something, just congratulating them for another year. And just really using those tools to my advantage to be able to just continue to put my name out there for them, which honestly has been the biggest gift I can use.
Absolutely. And just to be able to, I think organization is key as well. Just being able to organize your day and keep that book of business clear. I know that Alexandria, you talk about, being organized, being a good listener. Can you speak a little bit to how you've really gotten your product knowledge? What steps have you talk about product knowledge as being really important to being a great commercial salesperson. Can you speak to that a little further?
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, the nice thing is with technology nowadays, it is, anything you want to learn or you need to know, it's pretty darn easy to find the answer to your questions, but we have Chevy, so our GM, our Global Connect system, and Isuzu's got a lot of great training. So and I found videos can be very helpful, or when we have our actual reps, our factory reps that come out, just, ask questions is a big thing to really help with product knowledge and go out. And then the other part of it too is I learn more by driving the vehicles and actually getting out there and physically being in them and around them than like online. So that's another big part too, and then you really understand from the customer's perspective, like, oh, this, does this on the radio or whatever. When you get in the vehicle and drive it, you're like, oh, okay, yes, I understand that. So product knowledge is definitely big. And I think, like I said, at the end of the day, getting in and actually just driving these vehicles yourself is a big, big way to learn.
And heck, you get to drive new vehicles, and that always makes for a fun day.
It is fun, yes.
Ken keeps texting me that we can try again. So Ken, I'm gonna throw it out there for you one more time. Can you hear us and can you reply? All right. Well, we're feeling your energy, Ken, but we can't hear you. So I'm gonna go on and we've talked a little bit about technology, but I really want to dive into that. And Alexandria, I'm going to go ahead and stick with you. I know that Maria talked a lot about using social media, and you're really skilled with that as well. You submitted just an excellent video that I love for the hashtag Women in Automotive contest with NADA, and so you use social media as well. And can you just tell us a little bit about your process? Similar to what Maria spoke about in terms of getting on social media and using that to connect with your buyers.
Yeah, so social media is definitely a big one, and I have found, LinkedIn, Facebook to be very beneficial to connect with my customers, and I can tell a cool story. There was a very, very large company here in Phoenix that I went in and visited, and what we do, we have buckets of red vines and we blow up our business cards, put it on the side of it, and we'll take those to drop them off to new and prospective clients. And so I went into this company, didn't get to the decision maker, but I talked to a gentleman there who was like a sales manager, a very nice guy, dropped off my packet and my bucket of licorice and left. And then later on I come back and I got on LinkedIn and I sent a connection request to the owner of the company. And I actually got a message back from him, and he said, it was kind of more like, oh wow, like you have an interesting background of being commercial sales. He goes, my team loved the red vines. Thank you for stopping in, and I will give you, an opportunity next time we're in the market. So it was really cool to know that kind of works, that I had went in, I dropped off the bucket of licorice, and then I found him on LinkedIn, and he actually, sent me a message back. So it was a good sign that, yes, that does work.
You know what, and I'm a candy girl too, and I actually even branch out beyond candy to cookies. I found cookies work really well as well, and people do remember those gestures. Yeah, and every time you see him, he'll just remember you as the candy girl, and that's a good thing.
Yes,
people want
to.
Exactly. I love that story. Catherine, being a technology company, can you speak to this same topic and the importance of, specifically data and how technology can be used to leverage success and growth in the commercial space?
Every day I'm just gobsmacked by how little data there has been and used. I mean, that's really what inspired me to start the company, because people couldn't find commercial vehicles, right? They had to call.
Right.
So I'll just I'll give you a couple of examples.
Okay, great.
Of how I think data, just even a little bit of data makes a big difference. The first one is one of our first dealers in Northern California. So just so everyone knows, we provide a monthly Google Analytics report. And it's custom designed because Google doesn't recognize what we do, but it shows people's activity and what they're looking at by chassis, by body type, by what they're looking at in the carousel, by what they're looking at on the vehicle detail page, which lets you see the VIN. So there's a lot of information there in that report that a salesperson could use, and that could help them understand what people are looking at, and et cetera. Also around stocking, right? And so in this particular instance, I called the general manager, who is also the fleet manager at the store, and called him and said, "Hey, Francis, have you ever stocked a dump truck?"
Right.
And his comment was, I've been in this business for 30 years,
Right.
and I've never sold a dump truck. And I said, Francis, that's not what I asked you. I asked you if you'd ever stocked one. And he went, no. And I said, well, look, your Google Analytics report for the last 4 months had dump trucks being the second and third most frequently searched item. And he went, oh. And he stocked one and he sold it within 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And of course, we all know that's like the speed of light, right?
Right.
And so from that day on, he started using that data to plan and understand, and he's probably sold, well, he's had at least one dump truck in stock every month since, and certain times during the year he has more.
Oh, wow.
And to me, I just love that kind of a story where, you know, really just get a little bit smart about it. Like, for example, maybe using the report and saying, which are the VINs that have had the most activity? Well, if that VIN's been having so much activity, why hasn't it sold yet? Maybe I've got the pricing off. Maybe maybe I'm not, you know, maybe there's something else about it where people look at it and it's not exactly what they want. So is it perfect yet? No. Is there a lot more that we can do? Absolutely. That's what we're planning on doing.
Right.
So I'll give you one more little example. You know, body manufacturers and distributors today to know what's still on the dealer's lot, they have to get in a car and drive there.
Right.
With a clipboard. Because who has time to report to them and to go out and, you know, if you're a salesperson, that's not the highest priority. But it's helpful for them to know what's going on because they can actually help you. So we're now providing them with reporting that tells them when something moves so that they can be smarter about helping the dealership, helping the salespeople understand what activity is happening and replenishing their supply with the right kinds of vehicles.
Right.
So those are just two examples.
That's good. Yeah.
You know, of course, my favorite is using the prospecting tool to show customers either that are on the phone with you,
Right.
that you know what you're talking about and that you're instantly helping them,
Right.
or sending out, you know, links to vehicles that you think somebody might be interested in.
Right.
Those are just a few simple ways that you're making people's lives better.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and just wrap up the question portion, but I am very interested in what the goals are for the panelists on the phone. So Maria, I'm going to start with you. Just briefly, what are your goals for this year?
Oh, wow. So I have, I mean, when it comes to obviously this field, my goal is definitely just to be able to, I mean, have a book of business where I can have my returning customers that I've sold to. I mean, I'm so new, but I'm starting to see already the referrals, and even in this short amount of time, just because if people can love your attitude, I mean, they know that they're safe with you, so they'll send you their friends and family. But one of my goals is definitely that, and also just to be able to really brand myself in this industry and be known as the, you know, as a truck girl out here in Southern California. And just for people to buy from me, really. I mean, I've had customers from other states that have told me, hey, you know, I'm going to keep buying from you. We loved your service. It was fast, easy. And, you know, I just want to be able to keep incorporating that in my tools with what I'm using on social media, and even just the help that I'm getting from Work Truck Solutions. And just those are really my, you know, my top two goals that I can think of right now. Other than continuing to strive and show that women can rock this industry, because I get almost every customer that always tells me, man, you're the first lady that I see that's selling these kind of trucks. And I'm very, very proud of that. And, you know, I just want to be able to show that women are, you know, we're powerful and we can do a lot of great things in this industry.
Amen. I like it. Alex, how about you? What are some of Alexander, you there? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, it was just cutting out there a little bit. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, you know, kind of similar to Maria. I mean, I just really want to continue. This will be my first full year in commercial fleet sales, just continuing to build those relationships, you know, maintain the ones that I have currently, work on referrals, and then also, you know, just continue to learn and build my product knowledge. And I definitely want to get, you know, customers from all over the country, and also, you know, part of that too is just continuing to build my social media. You know, I want to do some more YouTube videos, and also, yeah, just continue to be a rock star. And here in Phoenix, Arizona, I'm the only lady in my department as well, so I want to make that known and get my name out there. So
good. And you are a rock star, and I like that. And I hope people get a chance to take a look at your submission. It's out there for NADA. It's out there on LinkedIn, and I think you have it on your Facebook page, but it's spectacular. So I know you will continue to be a rock star. Wonderful. I know, I don't believe Cheryl and Ken and Paul that we're able to hear them, or we're having some difficulties, but Rose, Paul's DSC, is here, and she knows his answer for his goal for 2019. So she's going to be the ventriloquist for Paul here.
It's pretty simple. He's just got the one this year. Be better than in 2018.
I like that.
I think together we're going to be able to make that happen for him.
I like that. And Cheryl's goal that she expressed was that she wants to sell at least 300 vehicles this year, and so far she has done that. So she's looking forward to selling 400 vehicles. She had sold 354 in 2018, so she figures 46 more is going to be easy peasy. So I really wish you all just great success in 2019, and I'll go ahead and have Juliet open up the attendees to pose any questions that they may have. Again, my apologies on the audio. Juliet attempted to resolve that, and I'm not quite sure what happened. My sincere apologies to Paul and then Cheryl and Ken. You know, maybe I'm going to see about us trying this again, because you guys have such great insights, and I'm remiss that we didn't get to hear from you on this. But we'll go ahead and open it up, and if there are any questions for Maria or Alex or Catherine or myself, we'll just open it up here. Or if we have any questions. So you'll need to unmute them.
Unmuted. Let me see what they have.
All right. Well,
so Shauna Hall is asking, we are planning an event, the new medium duty 4500, 5500, 6500 Chevy work truck in a few weeks. Do you have any recommendations?
All right. So Maria and Alex and Catherine, did you guys hear that question?
can you repeat it one more time?
We are planning an event, the new medium duty for 45, 55, and 6500 Chevy work trucks in a few weeks. Do you have any recommendations for planning this event?
So, Alexandria, what are some things that you've done there in Arizona when you have specific events that have worked for you guys?
Yeah, definitely just work on getting the word out. Definitely email. I'm sure you have a CRM or customer database. Build an awesome, you know, email template, blast it out to everybody. If you can filter, you know, to where you have leads or people that you can target that are specifically interested in the medium duty line. Also Facebook, if you can do, you know, a cool little ad or a video or some type of message that this event is going on. This is a big deal because we've had, I can't even tell you, I mean, how many calls from all over the entire country on the medium duty. So yeah, I would just definitely work on, you know, get on social media and your own customer database do emails, flyers, again, yeah, maybe some sort of Facebook video or YouTube video announcing that you're having this event for the release of the medium duty.
Perfect. Maria, do you have any further thoughts on what, who posted this question, Juliet?
Shauna Hall.
Shauna Hall. Do you have any other thoughts for Shauna on how to make the event a success? Maria, are you on there? Yep.
Hi, do you hear me?
Hi, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, perfect. Okay, sorry, it was not letting me log in there. So I was able to hear some of what was mentioned only because it was cutting off really bad. But I mean, just advertising your event on Facebook is going to be huge. I know that you know, I don't know how much people like to spend on ads, but I think the most amount that your budget allows you just to be able to throw ads out there and let people know that there's a huge event coming up. Getting somebody who's really good at creating content, making a great video for you guys, and just making it really like exciting is going to be one of my biggest recommendations that we have done to help us establish a community of wherever we're going to be going out there. So they're pumped up about what we're going to be showing.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, that wraps us up for today. I really appreciate everyone on the panel, and again, my apologies. We'll try to figure out what exactly happened audio-wise, but I really would like to extend my appreciation for everyone who attended today, and a special thank you to all of our panelists, Catherine, Ken, Cheryl, Alexandria, Maria, and Paul. My sincere thanks, and I wish everyone a great rest of your day and happy selling. Until next time. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.